What's the biggest reason, the real reason, why prospects don't book calls, even when they say they want to book a call? Well, today we're going to uncover it, and I'll show you how to fix it once and for all. I'll show you how to re-engineer your lead gen so that it brings you a higher percentage of call bookings from ideal prospects. And I'm going to show you how you can become so compelling they'll go ahead and book calls all on their own. That's right, no need to follow up anymore. My name is Pat Scrow. One of the biggest challenges you'll have as a coach when you first set out to enroll clients who are not part of your immediate sphere of influence is getting prospects to book calls. But with a bit of determination and luck, you figure it out. And it's a great feeling because it represents a genuine accomplishment. You have a complete cycle working from bringing someone from a stranger to a lead, to a book call, and then enrolling them as a new client. And then at some point, you decide that while a few clients a month is fine, you're ready for more. So how do you get more call bookings without also scaling up the amount of work you need to do? That's what we're covering today. Plus, I've got a bit of a bonus for you. Once we've uncovered the psychology around why people are going to want to book calls with you, I'm going to tell you how to do this in real life and exactly where to put this in your lead generation strategy. This is not a tips and tricks video, but if I do my job right, then by the time you've watched this, you'll have a clear understanding of why people aren't booking calls with you as frequently as you'd like, and you'll know how to fix it. Let's get into it. We're ripping the Band-Aid off straight out of the gate. The number one, biggest, baddest, most powerful reason why people don't book calls with you, even when they say they will, is because they don't believe you. This could be any number of things. They don't believe you can actually help them. They don't believe in your method. They don't believe in your skills. They don't believe the results you're boasting about are possible for them. They simply don't believe you. And if you can accept this, you're halfway there. Because when you fix this, when you do this right, you'll be able to dissolve any disbelief your prospects might be struggling with and empower them to make good moves for themselves. And in this case, it's booking the damn call. When coaches want to get clients, they usually make content. The mistake they make is they make the wrong kind of content. The wrong content for the job. Imagine having a can of tomato soup and you ask for a can opener, but instead you're given a rolling pin. Now, you can bang away with that thing as much as you want and you'll probably get the thing open, but it's going to be a lot more difficult and you're probably going to have a lot of waste. Well, it's the same with your marketing. There are different types of content to perform different jobs. Getting new clients each month is surprisingly easy if you have some key marketing assets in place. Today, we're talking about a critical marketing asset, a type of content that causes prospects to have moments of clarity, and it motivates them to book calls. As consumers of content, we have a basic understanding of what it is. But as creators of content, most business people, coaches included, have no idea there are different types of content for different jobs. So they just end up making whatever feels right. This leads to all kinds of nonsense. Hours spent creating stuff that no one consumes, no one cares about it. Shiny object syndrome, erosion of authority. This all results in low numbers of client enrollments. Now, as a coach, there are two main types of content you're going to want to deal with. Attention getting and epiphany triggering. Attention getting, if we need to explain it, we're in trouble. But this type of content, this is your traffic, whether it's paid or organic. This content will rarely cause someone to become a client. In fact, most of it is forgettable, but it's very useful for getting traffic. Epiphany triggering content is very different. So what is epiphany triggering content? ETC. Epiphany triggering content speaks to ideal prospects who are in the consideration stage of the buyer's journey. It's used so the prospect can truly see the problem that they're facing and so they can understand how the coach can solve it. The result is that the prospect experiences a genuine shift in their thinking. Sometimes epiphanies come in the moment, sometimes later that night or the next day. Then, with this clarity, the prospect develops an internal motivation, all on their own, to book a call. Because they realize that's the next logical step to see if the coach can help them. In short, epiphany triggering content seeds curiosity and grows a desire to find out more. Let's get into the weeds a little and really understand what's going on here. Okay, some key features of epiphany triggering content. First off, it's not designed to get attention. In fact, the more this type of content comes off as attention grabbing, the more it will frustrate the prospect. Second, by consuming the content, the prospect will discover answers to questions usually discussed on a sales or enrollment call. This changes the nature of that call. So there was this study done some time ago, and I wish I had have kept better notes so I could link to it now. It was about purchases over $5,000, consumer purchases over $5,000. And what the people doing the study wanted to know were two main things. What type of content were these people consuming? And at what point in the journey did they reach out and try and find information out? Now, what's fascinating is that over $5,000, almost everybody across the board had spent hours, at least one or more hours, but hours, consuming information about what they were thinking about buying, watching videos, reading articles, getting as much information as they could. They couldn't stop themselves. They kept binging basically because it was fun for them to try and figure out their options, how it was going to help them, what it was going to do. The second thing, most people stayed off the radar completely until the moment they decided that they wanted to buy. Now, if you take this information and you think about it for a second, we've all done this. We've all decided that we want something, and then we spend hours consuming every bit of information we can about that thing. We might even find ourselves daydreaming about it. We might even wake up in the middle of the night and we're thinking about it, not consciously, but we realize, well, I've been thinking about this thing that I want to do or what I want to buy. This happens because our subconscious mind is constantly searching for solutions, constantly solving problems for us. Which brings us to the last point here about epiphany triggering content. And that is that it's content that's specifically designed for the solution-seeking prospect. Because of this, ideal prospects will binge it. A quick moment here. Don't be fooled. You might be thinking, I know I have this kind of content already. And if you do, great. But a video training that teaches a short version of the thing that you coach, that's not epiphany triggering content. Anything resembling corporate marketing is not epiphany triggering marketing. Anything interesting to people who are not ideal clients is not epiphany triggering marketing either. So what does good ETC look like? Let's take a look at how this content will present itself in the real world. So this content is usually evergreen. If you think about it for more than a second, you'll realize why. It's because the fundamentals of you in your offer and your prospect and their problem, they don't really change that much. So this content can be in the form of long form video, short form video that's put into a series of videos, could be blog articles, could be a series of blog articles, could be a combination of all these things together. There is a certain feeling that epiphany triggering content gives people. So when consuming epiphany triggering content, the person should feel like they're researching and learning, because that's literally what they are doing. They are filling in gaps in their mind, knowledge gaps, and they're trying to get their head around, what is this thing that I'm looking at? Is this going to give me what I want? Is it going to fill a desire? Is it going to help me squash some need that I'm feeling? That's what they're going through this process. So it should feel like it. Which means that they don't need you marketing to them. They don't need you coaxing them or prompting them. In fact, they are likely on their phone when they should be sleeping, following their curiosity, binging, pausing, thinking, lying awake at night, flicking back through their notes, filling their knowledge gaps. They are searching for information that might solve their problem. So what's all this about epiphanies? Before we get to the epiphanies, see, the prospect is searching. Whether it be over a day or a week, they're clicking, they're consuming, they're looking for solutions. They're open to receiving help. If the prospect has these epiphanies while they're consuming the content, the logical next step is for them to find out more about it from the people who created that content. And in the coaching industry, that means they're going to book a call. And if the prospect has these epiphanies before they book the call, there's nothing to have to sell them when the call takes place. So it's common for prospects to get on the call not in should I buy mode, but rather in due diligence mode. This environment promotes useful conversation. And if the prospect and the coach decide to work together, this sets a foundation for a fantastic, positive working relationship. So what are these epiphanies? When your ETC is set up, it will walk prospects through 3 key epiphanies. These, of course, will be different for every coach, every offer, every industry, but there is a basic format. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Number 1 is problem aware. Number 2, solution aware. Number 3, you aware. Let me give you an example in an industry we can all likely relate to, weight loss. As we go through this, I want you to think about how it relates to you and your industry and your offer. So first epiphany is they need to become problem aware. The person already knows they're overweight, but they don't see it as a problem for various reasons. So pointing this out is wasted energy. Our first epiphany that they need to experience is that, I actually have a problem on my hands here, and it's one that I'm not confident I can fix. This means that they are aware of the problem, but the real problem is that they don't know how to fix it. When a person has that realization, usually it's so powerful they remember the moment and can recall it years later. This epiphany is the biggest stumbling block I see. If they don't see this, it's all uphill. And if you do manage to sell one of these people into your coaching, which can happen, they are likely to end up a bad fit client that you regret taking on. So the problem aware epiphany, once they experience this, the ideal prospect's brain will automatically begin seeking solutions. Once they've had that first epiphany, the second epiphany is when a prospect becomes solution aware. In our example, the person already knows about diets and gyms, but doesn't see these as a solution. It's likely they've already tried the obvious stuff and are well aware of all the arguments attached. The second epiphany they need to experience is that, this problem I'm facing, it looks like there's a solution that meets my unique situation. The big challenge here is that people are on their guard. They don't want to be sold a bill of goods only to be disappointed or look stupid. Most of this research work at this point is done in private, it's done in secret. In fact, the person's partner is likely not even aware that they're researching or reading or exploring options. Okay, a quick note here. This is often where coaches get it all wrong. They jump into a prospect's DMs and start pushing them to book a call. For the ideal prospect, nothing could be a more repellent move, done at precisely the wrong time. So if you've had training or advice that you should be doing this kind of thing, is it any wonder why you find yourself having a series of clients or a book full of clients? They're not good fits, they complain, they're bad fits, you should never have enrolled them. It's because the sea of potential clients that you could have, the ideal ones left when you started badgering them to book calls with them. Terrible advice. Back to the epiphanies. The third epiphany is they need to become you aware. They need to see you as a solution. So back with our weight loss example, this person may or may not know about you at all. The third epiphany they need to experience is, oh, this coach looks like they specialize in helping people like me in my situation. Okay, I have a few questions for them. I need to reach out to them. I need to speak with them. And that's it. And it's from here that they will book the call. Even if your call link is hard to find, they will search for it and they will find it and they will book the call. This can often be the easiest epiphany of them all to address. As long as you're not trying to be everything to everyone, it will become clear to the right prospect that you are different and that you could be the solution for them. Their subconscious mind will be talking to them at night when they're sleeping, when they wake up, when they're doing something else, and it will become a clear, inevitable destination for them to find your link and book a call with you. Now, just because you are walking prospects through these three key epiphanies, presented in your own way, for your own industry, for your own coaching offer, it doesn't mean that all prospects are going to want to book calls with you. This is by design. The key idea is to empower ideal prospects only. We don't want to try and sell with our epiphany triggering content because that will scoop up average prospects and it will repel the ideal ones. We've already spoken about how they don't need to be sold to. They don't need to be prompted. They're doing their own research in their own time, in their own way. They're filling their own gaps in their mind, knowledge that's missing. And as soon as that picture starts to take place, those epiphanies can automatically happen. You're empowering people to make good decisions. Don't try and sell them during your content. So if you do it this way, what you'll end up with is a battery of content ready and waiting for ideal prospects to binge and to have these epiphanies to come to their own conclusions. Okay, so a quick recap. If you install ETC, epiphany triggering content, into your lead strategy, you will enable rapid stranger to client in an average of 2 weeks as fast as 2 days. You will empower ideal clients to self-select and book calls all on their own. You will not have to sell when you're having these calls. And I've got listed here, you can extract excerpts to build community nurturing content that will convert as well. You might have a group, a Facebook group. You might have an email list. You might be using something else to have a community of people who've been following you for some time. If you've got these epiphanies listed out, and if you, for your industry, for your offer, if you know where you have to take somebody and what they need to be thinking and what information they're going to need to come to these epiphanies on their own, if you've done that work and created this content, you can take pieces from it and build other marketing to put into those communities. It's very easy to do once you've got the epiphanies and once you know what they are for your audience. All right, so far we've uncovered the psychology around why people don't book calls and what makes them want to book calls with you. So now as a bonus, I want to share with you how to do this in real life and exactly where to put this content in your lead generation strategy. I'm only going to talk about the primary way to use this content because this is where the largest opportunity exists. So where do we use ETC? Well, not during the attention stage. We've already covered that. If you put this content out on social media, do not be surprised when it doesn't get wild engagement. That's not what this is intended for. The primary place I like to deploy epiphany triggering content is right at the moment an audience member becomes a lead. So that's when they're in that no pressure stage of exploration. They've raised their hand for something, but there's no pressure from anybody. Remember I said before about that study where people, $5,000 consumer purchases and above, people want to do their exploration without pressure from anybody, including their partner. They just want to be looking, curiosity. Let's see where this leads. That's the place to put your epiphany triggering content. I like to use this type of content here because it sets me apart from my peers. See, most people, they slam the follow-up messages the moment someone raises an eyebrow to indicate that they might be interested in something. And I hate this and I hate when people do it to me. So I won't do it to my prospects either. And by giving them epiphany triggering content, this rich type of content, by giving them content that enables them to follow their curiosity and fill in the knowledge gaps, it shows a high level of respect for the prospect, that they don't need someone bothering them to make decisions, that they are capable and they can be trusted and they can decide what's good for them. So use this content right at that moment when an audience member becomes a lead. Now, you'll need a system for this, especially if your audience is growing or if you're running ads. I incorporate this type of content into my ULM. If you don't know what a ULM is, it's a unique lead mechanism. I just finished a video on it and I'll link to it in the description. But by connecting and automating your epiphany triggering content, connecting it with your unique lead mechanism, it becomes a simple, singular front-end call to action that you can use with all your content. Somebody can request it. It gets sent to them. They get it. It gives them information and it allows them to fill in their knowledge gaps all by themselves. And it empowers them to make decisions like booking a call to find out more. That's what it's all about. That's how you use epiphany triggering content. Ideal clients are intelligent people. They are not babies. Ideal clients are just like you, just like me. It sounds obvious, but ideal clients are not average or less than average. These individuals we're speaking about, these individuals that we want our marketing to connect with, we want our message to make sense with, these are ideal. These are ideal clients. To attract ideal clients, it makes sense to treat them so. We insult our ideal prospects by treating them like they are average. But we show respect for our prospects when we allow them the grace to move at their own speed, to fill in their knowledge gaps as required. As business owners, our job is to provide the raw information they'll need to come to their own conclusions. Nobody wants to be sold. People want to buy. The more we get away from marketing to our prospects and instead lean towards empowering them to make good decisions, the faster we'll have businesses filled with ideal clients. The description has links to resources to help get more clients. But if you've not watched the other 2 videos in this series, I'll link to them right here on the screen. Start with the top one. It covers the 11 biggest marketing mistakes that coaches keep repeating. See you in the next video.